Wow, you know, time flies. I cannot believe that it's been 20 years of this program already.
It's amazing to think that Slam's been running for 20 years.
How has it been 20 years since the Roundhouse Poetry Slam began?
Well, it's kind of unbelievable that the Roundhouse Poetry Slam is now 20 years old. And of course, it's had a big impact on everything that we do.
If you have heard the tannoy blare, mind the gap, then you have heard a poem. You have experienced the, quite frankly, frightening immensity of our desire to keep each other safe. We try to capture these fleeting moments, like flowers pressed between book pages.
I've got a kind of really long history with the Roundhouse Slam. Like, I started off doing this when I was 13 years old. I was like one of the first to ever take part in the slam. And I kind of won it when I was 18 years old. And that was kind of one of the moments, especially in my career, that was like, no, this is the thing for me. I'm good at spoken word. I like doing it. And I got the right validation from it. When I first started doing the Roundhouse Slam, we were doing it in the hub. Then we moved into the studio space a couple of years after that. And that felt a bit more proper. You get in the audience and then proper tiered seating, and it's like, oh, this is an event now. Then it went to the main stage and it's like, oh no, poetry is a big thing here. And we are not just moving to the main stage, filling out the main stage.
My life, a play written by her womb, my protest, a scene that didn't make the cut.
I'm OG. I ran the Spoken Word Collective here from 2009 to 2013, and during that time I hosted, I think, 3 of the slams. Like, my relationship was to the kind of cohort, so when they asked me to host it, it felt like a kind of more pastoral role, like making everyone feel all right. Vibes.
No other language that chooses Tango, but no other language that chooses Tango, but no.
And trying to host in a way that felt like it was a celebration of what we've been doing.
Sometimes the sun will catch you seven and stumbling, good-natured and scared. Tumble, dry a body, and no ideas about when you're all grown up. I mean, as a kid, I didn't think I was built to speak. When everyone else on the roller coaster screamed, nothing came out my throat. I was caught on the wrong side of a fist fight.
I started the Roundhouse Poetry Program and the Slam back in 2006. I believe it was just as the building was opening again after its kind of period of refurbishment. There's a sense of community that's established around Slam. But also I love that notion of claiming poetry. There are so many different ways in which poetry can be perceived as inaccessible. You know, poetry is often promoted as this kind of this far-removed pursuit for certain people of certain backgrounds and whatnot. And, you know, everything that I've lived and everything that I've experienced in relation to poetry is basically put the lie to that. It's basically about, this is a space for all. This is a space where anyone can approach and present themselves and connect with others.
The other thing that was there right from the off was the sense that it was a competition, but we really didn't want it to be competitive. It was always about how the spoken word artists would support each other, that the host and the judges would always meet with everybody afterwards and give them advice and give them support.
In these times, these very difficult times, culturally and financially, the only antidote to cultural fascism is collectivism. You stay together. And you challenge each other, you have that strong network. So to have something like the Roundhouse that deliberately tries to reach those people who are often from marginalised backgrounds and work to develop them is an essential part of the landscape. It's what we need, really.
She moved to England for a different reason. To put it simply, 3 years previously, she'd stupidly fallen in love.
And suddenly, here I am. Somewhere that people lend ears and shoulders, and people hold out that giant, ugly hole in their hearts that they're afraid makes them unfixable. And suddenly, here we are, learning that everybody from 10,000 years ago right up to today feels that way too.
It changed my life. When I won the Slam, afterwards I managed to quit my job at the time, working in a bar. Poetry became my full-time job because opportunities came to me that wouldn't have come to me without the Slam. You know, I'm a working class kid from Birmingham. I was doing my best in Birmingham, making a bit of a living doing poetry, but then the Slam put my name on the map. People heard about my poetry that wouldn't have heard of it otherwise. and I started performing across the country. I started getting commission work, started getting a lot of paid work, and yeah, it put my name out there, and without the slam that wouldn't have happened. And I've never felt as electric as I did performing that night to that many people.
It was a really special moment, but it also felt like a full circle moment because I used to come to watch plays at the Roundhouse and different things. So the Roundhouse was very familiar to me. I definitely don't think people saw me in that way as a performer, especially as I'm quite a quiet person in general life. So they were like, oh, okay, Rikea's on stage. It's been a really great journey. Roundhouse was definitely a key moment for me in the start of my journey into what I'm doing now and continuing to do.
Slam's evolved in lots of ways. So when I started it in 2017, we didn't have any national heats, we didn't have the audience vote, and then it was about actually how do we find more voices from the regions. We looked at kind of where else there were some amazing poets, where didn't have a poetry slam, but where had a big poet scene. And then we worked with working with different organisations around the UK to look at actually how we could get poets into the Roundhouse. And it was really important for us that we went there rather than bringing the heats from those places to the Roundhouse. And then obviously making sure that all of the finalists had a chance to perform on the main space in the Roundhouse.
Dear poetry, thank you.
There are so many incredible journeys that past, people who've taken part in the slam have gone on professionally. Countless published writers and poets, playwrights, screenwriters, directors, and those journeys are incredible. And we're at a great place now where so many of them are coming back to judge and be part of the slam process. I think the slam has lasted 20 years and hopefully will go on to many more because it is about a platform. It's not about the slam, it's about the people who are on the stage.
He wants to go back to a time where his identity wasn't defined by the wax wings hanging heavily upon his.
So working with Taylor Wessing as principal partner on the slam over the last few years has been a really brilliant step in terms of broadening that reach, both in terms of making sure that we get as many applications as we can, and we've hit record numbers over the last few years, but also in terms of diversifying the voices that we're able to platform as part of the slam. The national heats, wouldn't be possible without their support, and being able to discover new voices all across the country has been a really brilliant development.
Run to where this moonlight turns its shrubbery neon, where signs glow opal above farmland burrows that read "Badgers are welcome here."
One of the main arms of the Taylor Wessing Responsible Business Initiative is the support of the arts, and by supporting the Poetry Slams, that's the way in which we can achieve that. But on a personal level, I also really enjoy it. It's fantastic to attend, and if you've not been to a Poetry Slam before, it really is something which you've got to see to really understand.
I hope that many more people will be able to enjoy what it is that Slam offers. I hope that many more people will be moved by what it is that Slam offers. I hope that poets step up and challenge themselves.
I've got an idea for one dish. It's jerk goose liver. So we're gonna call it a foie gras. Yeah.
In terms of how it is that they take the stage and what it is that they want to share with their peers. I hope that poets take up on the offer of not the program itself, but what their peers are presenting in terms of the poems that they are putting forward and how they each other kind of respond to the work that's being put forward through this.
It's the voices of young people being heard on stages, the emerging talent which they're not getting a place anywhere else to show their work. It's great that it can happen here, on the main stage at the Roundhouse, where artists such as Jimi Hendrix has played, and then these young poets are coming up and talking about their lives and talking about the spirit of their lives to audiences that would have never heard them before.
So, to every Notes app hero, to everybody that reads loud and true in a pub basement, to the ones that scribble it on the way over and the ones that build it slow and steady, to the tortoise and the hare and the ones who feel lost on the racetrack altogether, I can't wait to meet you right here.